Great. And I believe we're live, but I'll just give it a moment to see the screen. Yeah, there we are. All right, back to here. Great. So I'll begin. Hi, everyone. It's been a while. Let me just say this is a very extensive and intricate case. And as we go forward, we are seeing more and more connections with this, which we are identifying as well. We knew this in the beginning, however, it's becoming more clear that what we're actually dealing with is a crime syndicate here, and that there is the actual nefarious intent that is involved. And let me say with this, and this is truth, in this very time, it would not be of any benefit for Sister Nya and I or any others to be doing what we are doing if God was not real and all of this was divinely supported to end all of this atrocity and suffering and stealing of children. And it goes much deeper beyond what just a normal human could comprehend. We are really actually dealing with actual evil here, and that's what it is. And we can just so diligently and easily show both sides of it. However, we will keep on what the human logic can accept with this and what is totally incontestable of what has occurred, and adding in the true spiritual and divine element. Anyone can conclude that from their self. So we wish to present this case neutral and logical and within the confines of the human comprehension. And that is the way that it needs to be, so that humanity stands up and no longer accepts these huge injustices. And it's well underway. And with Sister Nya's case as being an example of that, it is absolutely incontestable. And during the course of this journey with this case that involves many parents and children worldwide, as we go forward, you'll become to see more and more of the reasoning why, and also when it's all finalized, which has to be very close. The incontestable evidence, if you will, is irrefutable. And what this means is that there is no trial with this. It's all proven in our approach, and meaning there is only the final verdict, which we really have already handed, and will be doing that a little bit more inclusively tonight, adding in some more pieces. So having said that, all involved in Sister Nya's case with the children, there is no escape. There has to be accountability, and that does occur. Um, what I will say, uh, to my knowledge, at this time, in the very near future, we will be holding a public inquiry dealing with Austria, and any moms and dads that also wish to come on as part of the testimony, and where we name the actual names of all of the perpetrators involved. Everyone needs to realize that this is systemic abuse, but it is also intentional, as we said. So this is uh, one of the most serious things to ever come to light for Austria, but it is connected worldwide to a very huge crime syndicate ring, in the least. And again, I would not be here. We would not be here doing this. It would be futile. It would be useless if God was not real. And again, God is very real. Sister Nya and the children and I, we are divine. Um, let's say we know things that just the unawakened human population does not know yet. However, they will know in the very near future. So we have quite a extensive, I believe, update for you. One thing we did not have the panel up and running yet, uh, and I do believe we will have that in the future where we bring in others as well. What I can say is that there is one pending interview with a very important contributor, and I hope she sits on the panel when we have it. But we'll have that interview first. And also in Norway, I feel that what is set up is I'll be doing a podcast with a sister in Norway that is a lawyer that has been battling, or she was a lawyer that has been battling, if you will, against child care services in Norway as well. And what we'll say is the strategies and the tactics are prevalent throughout what um, every country that is involved. And we're mostly looking at the Western world with this, but there is also the Eastern world that is connected, where a lot of the children also come in that are trafficked and bought and sold, and a lot of that. But we don't get into that in this case. This case is to share and inform all moms and dads of the lawful procedures and to end this insanity worldwide once and for all. So we're mainly focused on Europe and the Western world, Canada and the US. So you could say the entire Western world with this. So having said that, I have two lists compiled. Really not an agenda, but let's see. Just let me check a couple things here. What I will say with this crime ring, we're so fortunate with Sister Nya in her case because the perpetrators were so confident. They have been doing this, well, let's say for many years. It even goes back to the Nazi time and in Austria itself, and let's say it connects to the psychological study and human experimentation, where 600 or 800 human brains were kept in the bottles from children and others at one institution, and more recently, I think 1983 was another psychological experiment that more recognition is just coming upon now that occurred in Austria. So there is that background with it, and let us say that it is still prevalent today and deeply ingrained in especially the child services, but also within what is looking all levels of government as well. So it's very entrenched. And having said this, because it's entrenched in the justice system of Austria, it's why they were so confident that they broke their own laws blatantly with no threat of any recourse by anyone, if you will. So they just, it was a common practice to do these sort of tactics, never thinking that it could ever be opposed, thinking they were always invincible. However, in this great times, that no longer is the case. All darkness, all evil, all wickedness is exposed right at its very core. So as we go forward, we'll be mentioning names, as I said, in the future, more names, and these will come up in the public inquiry because it is the onus is upon the people to ensure that there is accountability and justice is upheld. It's that serious in Austria that there is actually no justice system. It's all a corrupted, entrenched system. And what this does, as a result of that, every family in Austria is actually at risk and great danger to their children being kidnapped at any time. And just using, I know it has happened in Austria, but just using one of the tactics, what has occurred in Norway is that a mom's children were taken because one child was 1 pound underweight. That was the ridiculous reasoning, which is not acceptable with all of this going forward. Um, so I'm just going quickly through a few notes so I get these off. Get these out of here. Do you wish to say something, Sister Nya, when I look at where I didn't create an agenda in chronological order? We just more so go by the knowing and from the heart, but I do have some points to touch on. But should we come in? Do we need to really have any chronological order? Perhaps it would be better, Sister Nya. The last time we had our update, we was saying about the lien that we had put out against the Republic of Austria and also its civil servants insurance companies. But also since then, we have informed 19 other countries of this case and all of the particulars surrounding it, and of course, of all of the laws that were broke, not only within Austria, but international law and civil rights worldwide as well. So it's a very serious case, and it's also setting the precedent. What we can say is that many law firms worldwide are looking at this, and of course, illegit justice systems as well, because there is no escape from what this is. Also, there is such the thing as universal jurisdiction by other countries to take action themselves against Austria. And there is also our own people's universal jurisdiction, which is even above international law. And international law is just an illusion, a gentleman's agreement. And the International Court of Justice, the European Commission, Court of Human Rights violations, and they are all backlogged currently, and this is important information. I think the International Court of Justice is backlogged perhaps years, and also the European Commission is also backed perhaps by 13 years with complaints and cases. And what this means, it's very extensive in this time, and no one is going to get any assistance from these courts making decisions and these commissions, again, because it's more or less a gentleman's agreement. And the only power, the only authority, the ultimate authority is the people themselves. And it is the people's responsibility worldwide to step in, because the people in every country actually voted these politicians in to be representatives of the people. So what it is actually in every country, these politicians, leaders, and what have you, they would not have their positions if it was not for the people by voting them in to represent them. So because of the simple way that everything works, the full onus and responsibility is on the people to step up in times like this with tyranny and atrocities. And the people are the ultimate law and the ultimate power, which is the universal jurisdiction and the last resort at establishing any justice and order in times like this. So, what have we done? Where do you wish to go from here, sister? Yeah, I've spoken quite a bit.
I felt like, to go more with your agenda because I feel like, I only have small points, but I feel, I could just edit, to, parts that you will speak. I think that would
Right.
be an opening to it.
All right. Excellent. Let's see. I got two lists here. I normally don't have this. What our dear assistant Ray has also that has compiled a uh, a list as well. Perhaps let's look at what Sister Ray has compiled. I'll share the screen, and then we can go through these points, if you will. Go down here to share screen, and hmm, let's try this. There we go. All right, so first, the institutional liens. So we initiated, as we covered in our last, initiated the base value for these liens is 500 billion dollars, and one of the things is what the value of a life is priceless and immeasurable. There is no calculation of how much harm uh, can be created upon the children by subjugating them to great stress and trauma and psychological torture, which is the case with Sister Nya and her children. So, having said this, to try to get a baseline, if you will, well, what we look at is we take the perhaps infamous Elon Musk, where one man has a value of about 500 billion euro or US dollars. This shows us what can be achieved by any individual in this now. But as we project this, let's say with an 8-year-old child, till the 8-year-old child gets 30, that number then, let's say the child could be worth $1 trillion or much more. And the way the current world works, they work on projections, especially in their financial sector. And so it's not unreasonable to add a projection in here, especially with the value of a life. So we have the base value at $500 billion for each individual. And this will set the precedent worldwide for any that began to also initiate their own liens against the so-called authorities that have become criminal. So we did a full live information session on that, I believe about a month ago. So
Yes.
let's let's look at our next one here. So the evidence compilation. secured video. Now we have a video I'm also going to play. Perhaps I'll play that now because
Yes.
this gets into the written contracts from the children as well. Give me a moment to bring this up. Can you see this, Sister Ya, on your screen?
No, I think sometimes you have to change the selected window.
Yes, that's what you do, what I need to do. Yeah, stop and reshare. Here we go. Now, I wish for everyone to watch this love
I still
between
see
Ya
you.
and her children. Here it comes. Coming. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Let's start. All right, here we go. This is Nya visiting her children while they were kept captive at the Child Crisis Center. Perhaps, do we have a date on this? Perhaps 2 months ago, I would say. And I'm going to play that again, everyone. Does this look like children that do not love their mother? There we go. That's very telling in itself, and it's very important for everyone watching this to remember this video as we go into some other particulars. Yeah, a little bit emotional. I feel it as well.
Yes.
Yeah, the cruelty of and the wickedness and the evil and everything that is going on with this insanity and intentional harm and torturing and suffering. All right, so we're back on here. Now that was one video. We have photos as well when Sister Nya visited the children um, and we also have written contracts from the children with Nya that were taken while Nya visited them in their captive child crisis center in Spital Adro. How do you say that? That crisis
Spital an der
center.
Trau.
Yeah. While they were there. Um, so we have written contracts that the children get to choose what parent they wanted to be with, that they did not want to be held captive in the Child Crisis Center, which showed that the children then were held against their will, but also with the contract that they could be with the parent that they wanted, and they did verbally choose to be with Sister Nya, and there's, I believe, there was at least one witness that heard them say that at the time, but there was also a supervisor overhearing everything. So actually, two witnesses. If the supervisor uh, in the future is called to testify, but that's nothing that we deal with. It's about the if the justice system in Austria is to have any redemption, there will be many that will be going to jail with this, if you will, as the huge criminal ring crackdown occurs. But it doesn't matter for us because this case is incontestably proven. As we said, there is no trial. The evidence speaks for itself that the crimes are intentional. Um, and also, we need to add Sister Nyan, you can elaborate on this. And documented unlawful concealment of medical and welfare records. What we're speaking about there is that in the Child Crisis Center, they were doing clinical testing, which included psychological experimentation as well. And that's more so what clinical testing is. And we have Sister Nya, and we have requested a full protocol and exactly what was done. And with this, they did not comply. So there is not the transparency. But when you see anyone not complying in concealing these, it means that they do have something to hide, that they are not acting lawful, and that there is not yeah, just keep it simple. They're not acting lawful and that there is something to hide. Do you wish to expand a little bit on that with the requests for the records and how you got led around, manipulated too?
I remember that I asked the Crisis Intervention Center about everything they have done to the children, but also knowing that they did something, because I have also all the calls with the children recorded as well.
We
Um,
have evidence, yes, correct,
yes,
of that
so
too.
whenever I requested something from the Crisis Intervention Center, I never got a reply from them. I also don't get a reply from the child welfare. Everyone was telling me I don't have the custody. Until this date, no one ever had taken away the custody. There was no court order. But since they have already decided it by themselves, they just acted, that way, right?
It was all premeditated
Yeah.
and planned, as we can perfectly show as we go forward.
Yes.
Continue, please.
So I also asked, in the child welfare itself, I can't remember exactly what they reply, but the result was I didn't get any reply. Then, I did it again. I think some around the end or something. I also got the related laws as well for both of them, right? For the Crisis Intervention Center, because they are tied to inform the parents, but also, the child welfare, they have
Yeah,
to
a
up
lawful
and to
consent.
inform the parents
Yes.
as well. But again, they didn't reply. So I informed the leader of my state itself, which is in charge, of the whole state itself.
Mhm.
And she then forwarded it to the child welfare leader, and he came back and he said, "Yeah, when can you come?" And well, I made an appointment with him, to get to this place. And when I was there, I had the witness with me there.
You had a
Oh,
physical witness accompany you. Yes.
yes. So the case itself was on the desk, but he said, he cannot give me any information on it. And I said, why? You confirmed the appointment. And he said, well, the custody is now fully with the father, and I cannot give it to you unless you get the confirmation from the father, or from the ex, and then I can give it to you. And then I said, well, then give me the access to the date where I still had the custody from your perspective, right? And he said, what do you want? And I said, all medical reports, all reports what was done with the children. And he said he don't have any. It's there in the Crisis Intervention Center. And I told him, well, you want to tell me that you as a child welfare don't have all the information at your place, right? What is about they took away they took the blood from the children, and I asked him, what if with the doctor report of this? And he said he don't have any. And I said, every doctor has a report, so where is it? And he said, well, I just called with him and he said everything is fine, so I don't have any. And then I informed him again, there's a law that you have to document everything. So when I said
Yes.
this, he got angry and triggered and told me that I don't have to tell him how he's doing his job, right? And also in the same time, I asked him again, why did you tell me to come today when you don't give me access to the case? And he said, well, I want to speak with you in a normal way. And I said, do you really just invite me there, you know, showing that the email is about, to look into the case, but when I'm coming, you just tell me you want to speak with me. I didn't told him,
Uh,
back then that this is, it is deception itself, right? And this
yeah,
misuse power again.
under false pretenses. Yeah,
Yes.
luring and enticing as well under false pretenses. And but also, uh, so yeah, he said, all right, so you ask the alleged father, and if the alleged father says it's all right, you get the information, then we'll give it to you. And so then you say, all right, so perhaps that's part of the protocol that you hadn't checked yet. So what you did is you asked the father, and what was the alleged father's reply when you asked him to give permission to release the medical records and the clinical testing and all of this? What
Oh,
did the alleged father say? And we're using alleged father in this case because it has not been proven nor documented yet if um, if the alleged father is the actual father. And
yes.
be,
Just give me a second. I have to check if I have it somewhere. But in short, I cannot just
well, was
I
it
can
just to refresh your memory?
yes.
Didn't the alleged father say no? He has no say in this. That it's the child welfare that decides.
He
What was
said
his reply?
it he said, that the child welfare is in full control, something like this. And if the
Hmm.
child welfare says no, he cannot goes against it, something like that.
Hmm.
But
So this was the opposite of what the child welfare told you. They said you must ask the alleged father. If he gives permission, then you can have it, if you will. But when you ask the father, that was not the case.
yes, but also I when I was at his place, I asked him 3 times, um, again and again, if he's giving me
Whose
access
place?
to the
At
case.
the
Yes, and he said 3 times no, and I forwarded this again to his leader. And then he came back and he said, I have explained it to you that because of the protection of the father and the children, and you are making everything public online, I cannot give you access to it. The thing is, there is a law here in Austria, meaning like it doesn't matter if you have custody or not. They have to inform you about everything. Also, my name is inside the children. I have the right, to look into the case. But I also have to
absolutely
say, this is a common thing throughout. I can only speak for Austria because I checked it with Austrian fathers and mothers, that everywhere they denied the parents to look into the case. So
intentionally breaking the
intentionally.
law of Austria. Yes, because they feel so confident in the past, so blatantly breaking laws. Yes, and so and this is recorded. Continue if you have anything to add on that, please.
Oh, I just want to add 2 things, which was very interesting. He said during this meeting there. The first thing was, he was saying that I'm not normal. It's not possible to communicate normal with me. And also, he said, you are making every shit public, meaning like, to refer on our lives as well. And also he mentioned, that a lot of parents are coming in and filing complaints to him. And he also have a lot of proclamation there, right?
Ah, perfect. Yes.
But also he was saying, that a lot of people are watching the lives, right?
Hmm.
And I said, oh, that's a good thing. Thank you for, I didn't say thank you, but I said, that's a good thing. But also, you can also see how he reacted, because he also said to me, you have to behave normal because of your children, your poor children. And
Trying to threaten you, yeah, to control you.
yes, and he said, I saw your children last week 3 times. There were several other things to it. But the thing is, I said to him, well, you don't know my children. The best for the children is if they are back with me. And he said, that will never happen. So,
Oh, he said that. Yeah, yeah.
yes,
That is, and the witness heard him say that.
yes, I think so. He
Oh,
was with me all the time.
this is a very condemning bit of evidence as well, because it goes with their long-term plan, but also it fits in with their premeditation, how this was all conspired and premeditated and planned out. So this is a very important piece of testimony and evidence as well, uh, with that, without rambling on much more about it at this point.
Yes, yes. So I'm just sharing that bit, and I left his place and I went to a cafe to, just to drink my old cacao there and to, compile everything. And
Mhm.
interestingly, it was 5 minutes away from the child welfare place. And at that point, the ex sent me a message as well. And, with other accusations and blamings and offering to talk with the children, but only, the same thing like in a crisis intervention center, blaming me for manipulating the child. I can talk with the child, but if it is convenient to him, and also that everything is loud on loudspeaker, so there is no privacy. Everything is listened by him and controlled by him. Whenever I'm speaking non stuff that is not in alignment with a child, he will immediately stop the communication, right? So, not to tell the
But let
children the truth.
yeah, yeah, let's look at this, what the child crisis leader said to you. He said more or less you're not normal. So he began to demean you because of your beliefs, if you will. Um, and also, we show in this case where there was collusion with the ex, with the child care services. And
Yes,
again, more times than enough, it proves beyond it being a coincidence that there is that direct communication. So here's just another example at the coffee shop having a cacao. 5 minutes later, then the ex begins, the alleged father begins texting, intimidating and threatening and laying out conditions and in attempts to control.
yes, because the child welfare leader couldn't control me. He also intimidated me and told me, that the letters I'm sending out, not everyone will be comfortable with it. And he's just saying, so at that point, I knew already what's going on. Um, Meaning, like, we just said the truth. We never threatened
Mhm.
anyone. We were never
And
angry or something like that, so it's not a threat itself. It's just me, I want to have my children back, and pointing out everything that they are doing wrong.
exactly. And he was also, he was one of the 15 that were sent an invoice
Yes.
for you to begin to claim for your time spent on all of this. And he made a comment about that invoice. And can you just share, may you just share what his comment was about that? And I will elaborate.
Oh,
more on it?
I think he wanted to know about all the invoices as well. But the thing is, as you know, my main goal was to get into the case, and I told him, you know, it's everything explained. You know, I want to have I want to look into the case. But the thing is, he wanted to ask me why I did these invoices, and he said, "Well, then I can also send you invoices then." And then I looked at him and I said, did I broke the law? You know, because of their wrongdoings, right? And he
But
couldn't confirm that, right?
didn't he say to you, do you really expect me to pay this
Yes,
invoice?
yes.
And you
Did
have a
you really
witness that
expect
heard him say
anyone?
that.
Did you really
Now,
expect anyone to pay that? Yes,
well, let's look at this. This is a lawful, proper invoice, and it's lawfully substantiated. And let us also say that if it is not paid, it is considered as theft, and then there is criminal charges, but also the accrued interest on this is rising compoundly every day. Um, and there is no wiggling out of these invoices as well. And as part of our rightful and lawful educating moms and dads that your time is very valuable, and where you've been forced, where your children, let's say, are kidnapped, taken against their will and yours, your time is worth value. And in Ya's case, um, because of, let's say, the entire justice system of Austria being totally unjust, she had to resort to higher lawful measures. And when you begin to go up into these higher levels of law, if you were to, let's say, employ an international law firm, some of them will charge, let's say, 500 or 5,000 euro per hour. So, having said this, if any of you that are doing this on your own, your time is very valuable, perhaps 1,000 euros an hour. But it's not only for the time that you work on trying to defend yourself and trying to get justice every waking moment, and even when you're sleeping, this torture is on your mind, meaning it's controlling your day, your night, everything that you do. And that time, it would not be there affecting and controlling ones. It's part of the psychological torture if this crime would not be imposed upon you. So, meaning there has to be that compensation for it as well. But without going further into the invoices, the whole world works on this.
yes,
That anyone that has to work, they have to get paid. If they're not paid, it becomes, let's say, slave labor as well. But slavery has been abolished, hasn't it? So I won't go deeper into
yeah.
that. Shall I move on to the next topic and point?
Or maybe I can add something, you know, because of the control
Mm-hmm.
thing. I just want to add
Yes,
that he desperately wanted I to get a lawyer again, right? And I was like, oh, why? And the thing is, you know, from my opinion, it's to get me back into control and manipulation. But, you know, we just left afterwards. And very interestingly, when I sat there and, you know, just read the message of the ex, my ex lawyer passed by in the exact moment, you know, from the court 2 years ago.
just
Yes,
coincidentally. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes. So
all
I'm just
all
saying,
premeditated and orchestrated and arranged.
looking how
But
desperate I am.
Yeah, yeah. At this point, in your last court setting that you did go to begin to give more of the divine law, when you went to that court, was the alleged father's lawyer at that court at that time?
Did you mean
The
the
last court setting,
yes?
yeah, did the ex have a lawyer at that court setting?
Yes, he did have, but
All
not the
right.
time.
Now, all right. So at any time during, um, did the lawyer, your ex's lawyer, was it a he or she?
A she. This time a
A
she.
she. All right. Did she ever step up or step out of the court saying that this is an unlawful procedure?
No, never.
All
Let me.
right.
I have to add something. I had a witness there, and she's working, for a children's organization for 10 or 15 years. So she's witness of all this situation. So she, because she heard they want to put the children into a children's home, she tried to talk with the child welfare. She tried to talk with the ex, to get a peaceful agreement, right, to save the children. But when she tried to talk with the ex, the
In the
he's
courtroom
no outside the courtroom in a break.
outside.
Um, he was she tried to talk with him, and she immediately stepped inside and said, "Don't talk with her." Right. So that is the only thing she did. But since the two times of courts I've been there, she never stepped up for him or never said something. I only saw her first submission, from the lawsuit where she was very how do I say it? Judgmental and blaming and bias and something like that. I was very curious, because in the court itself she didn't speak at all.
Yeah,
So
well, also with her, then with the alleged father's lawyer, she is in a very severe criminal jeopardy as well as a result of what transpired in the court, because part of her lawful conduct and oath in any court is to not participate in an unlawful ruling which was occurring or an unlawful court proceeding. So, having said this, and with more supporting evidence, without getting into all of that evidence, she is also a key player in complicit in this overall crime and in this crime ring is what I'm calling it. Yeah, excellent.
yes.
Um, Also, I wish we had many things, if you will, to keep up to date on. So I was, yeah. So anything to add right there before I move on? Anything
No.
new, let's say. All
Um,
right, great.
no, maybe later
All right, great.
to move
Let's
on.
look at, all right, the next point here. We have the psychological conditioning exposure. And what we have is revealed phase two ongoing harm through court approved psychological testing. So, what has resulted is that when the children were placed in the custody of the alleged father, apparently part of that agreement is that psychological testing would be ongoing on the children. Um, and this is where you get into the conformity, the psychological experimentation and manipulation as well. Um, my one thing with this right at this time is that the father agreed with ongoing psychological testing on the children. Well, there was nothing wrong with the children, and I believe they even said that in the crisis center. the children are actually advanced beyond the normal child at that age, indicating that there is nothing wrong, that actually there was more right with those children, showing that the psychological testing um, is a form of uh, conforming. But I know you want to say something here.
Um, n Not really, but oh
Well, what
yes,
did the alleged father, what did he do? He agreed with the psychological testing after he got the custody.
yes, he agreed to the psychological clinical test inside the court. He also agreed for the children to be separated from me. He
So
agreed for
did,
the children to go into the crisis intervention center. Yes, and
but
he, yeah.
who proposed the psychological testing after the children were given to his custody? Who proposed that in the beginning?
Um, the child welfare.
All
The
right, so it was a requirement and a condition of the court that the ex-father had to agree to psychological testing
Yes,
after they were in his custody.
before he went into his custody. So the children were taken, and he wanted to have the custody quicker, but you know, the judge said they have to make those tests, right?
Mhm.
And
So,
yes, so they went into the crisis intervention center where they were separated from everyone and isolated, where they did the testing, the manipulation, the confirmation, the indoctrination, and everything after the traumatized, after they were traumatized. Yes, but he
yeah.
also agreed to intense care with the psychological evaluator, right? But I don't know the status of this right now because none of them give me any information or reports or, you know, access.
Well, all of this is what I would say is from what they tried to do, what they tried to substantiate reasons for psychological testing, all of that is mute and does not have any merit because the children are not stressed. They were not stressed. They were advanced. So this really, if you will, in this really doesn't matter with their substantiation because all of their substantiation is based on false premises, conjecture, speculation, which is not fact and does not hold a grain of merit to it. So we can just disregard that, but we can take everything that they attempt to utilize to show their actual intent and desperation at concocting stories and creating fiction, as well as famously the psychological evaluator did in her last evaluation that was used in court, and also the collusion with the judge to support this, where it is absolutely biased and unreasonable, and any professional judge and any professional lawyer um, with the alleged father could quickly point out because they're trained to point out injustices as well as knowing what the law is. So, having said this, again, they're all complicit in it.
Yes, I just want to add, you know, the main lawsuit was filed a year ago where he applied to strip away the custody from I and to use coercing onto I, you know, meaning like with um, criminal, you know, with the federal department or police to coerce me to go to the court. Because as we know, they cannot say something, you know, without your presence, right? but also, accusing me of malnutrition and all those kind of things. But the clinical tests and studies couldn't show anything of it. So meaning like normally they had to give me the children back after that, but they didn't. They just fabricated new stuff. But also, in the court itself, I said I don't agree with those tests. It's experiments on the children. So it is also, brought up by inside the court, and they still continued with it. So they were informed of it as well.
Yes, they did not listen to anything that you said. They were intent on doing what they're doing here with the children. Yeah. Um, so then you began to touch on a couple things that'll come back into play as we
Yes.
go forward here. Um, and we'll give an update on lawful procedures, strategies, and instruments that we were using just a little bit later. But we'll go through this and this list, and some of that may come in as I go through this. All right, next thing we have a public inquiry framework, and I mentioned this in the beginning. So we have a structure and we know how to do this. This is, as I said, not only an internal investigation, meaning inside Austria, there's also the external investigation that ties this all together to show that it is not a nation systemic crime, that it's actually a network more worldwide, the Western world, if you will, mostly. So yeah, and we also, during the course of what we're doing, we're constantly educating, um, as we are doing now, and there'll be further educating, of course, in the public inquiry, because it's obvious that the people don't even know their basic rights. They don't even know when that has been violated, some of them. But of course, they could not get any justice with a rigged system, especially in Austria, if you will. Um, so also in the public inquiries, all of the complicit characters will be named publicly as well. We've already did that, began naming them publicly, because the public needs to know how much in danger they are in Austria, and how much in danger their children actually are with these so-called authorities or officials, what they are actually doing. So we put the names on that, and bring those to be accountable before the public, because again, it's the public's choice. Does the public wish to support criminal officials that are endangering families and children in Austria? No. Any sane, good soul or person could not do that. It is insane. So ones are morally obligated to know that these officials, in the least, have to be removed. But the entire justice system of Austria, really and truly, for it to be reformed, the extent of the criminal activity in it, you would have to just replace the whole system with a lawful system, because indeed it is very unjust and it is very primitive. And we've also have compiled, and it's still ongoing, a list of actual laws in Austria that violate the rights of the individual, but also what we would say laws that are actually illegal and are also able to be abused very easily. because of the design of the primitive Austria judicial system, in the least. Next one we have on here is an open letter to the mayor, Gerhard Koper, if you will. Um, we have this written, however, as a result of recent events. We are not even sure if he has the lawful capacity to be a whistleblower, because it seems he is more complicit with this overall crime. And it has also come to our attention that he has been at least incriminated in past abuse of power. Do you wish to share a little bit on some of his history with abuse of power, or what has occurred in the past? But perhaps something just more recently happened as well that indicates his unlawful behavior.
Oh, that was, the mayor of Spital Drau. I just read about it that there was an incident, he being blamed for misuse of power, and then he came back into the office again as a mayor again. There is an ongoing thing, in the whole state of Carinthia, I would say, because the leader of the state of Carinthia is involved into my case, so he's completely informed about the whole thing. But
Mm-hmm.
again, just recently, a new incident happened. It was somewhere here in my state, and there's a place where Slovenian people get massacred, killed at the times of the Second World War. So it's a memorial place. And I'm not quite sure. They had some kind of a gathering there, and they were camping there. And for some reason, the police came there and was threatening them, and they used a lot of violence against them, and just used some kind of reasoning like they don't show the identity or something, they don't let us in, just excuses to use violence, right? Also,
Brute
they don't.
force by the
Yes.
police, yeah. And who ordered this? The mayor? Did he play a part in this?
No, not the mayor, but the leader of the state of Carinthia is involved into this, because first they said, oh, it was not planned and organized, and then it literally came out it was planned and organized. And if that is the reason, then the leader is involved into this whole thing.
And he
Um,
is also involved in this case. Yes, so more
yes,
illegal
exactly.
connected activity. Yeah, so it's becoming more clear, the criminal behavior.
And the misuse
Excellent.
of power, in Carinthia itself, right?
And abuse, yes, and
Yes.
getting perhaps violent abuse by instructing these police to use brute force. It's my understanding as well. This is very dangerous as well from that aspect. So what we're seeing is not only the parents, the families are at threat. We're seeing even single civilians, if you will, perhaps too, are a threat of a brute force. And this
Yes.
is Gestapo, if you will, or Gestapo. This is it's very savage and tyrannical.
Yes, I just want to add, that, a lot of videos just went viral, from whistleblowers, first in Slovenia and then afterwards in Austria. So they didn't know there were recordings of it. So what happened was that 400 Slovenian people started to stand up and create a protest, and getting telling the leader of Carinthia to get responsible and take responsibility for it, and to apologize
Mm.
to it. But I didn't continue and follow that. I just saw he came public, but I didn't know if he ever have apologized. I think he blamed it again, to someone else. I'm not quite sure, but I don't
Yeah,
know it.
using one of the tactics is to use scapegoats as well. But
Yes.
yeah. All right, let's look at the next one. The Supreme and Constitutional Court dual strategy. with this, what we are doing is we're going to present the opportunity to both courts to for them just to see what their decision and ruling is on this entire case. So we are going to give them the opportunity, and what we'll publicly do if they take us up on this, we'll give their results. So this is an important part. We've already have this, if you will, prepared. Um, Next thing, identification of unlawful Austria laws. I've already said that, including penalty fees for non-appearance in court against Sister Nya when she found the court was corrupt with the point zero of where I believe in May 2023, where she realized in court that she did not consent to the setting times, but they did not listen to her at all. And what they did is the court imposed their setting times. And and that's where everything began, where Sister Nya lost trust in the justice system because they would not listen to her reasoning. And again, one part of her reasoning is with the alleged father drinking alcohol while the children were in the vehicle, and also some other violent attempts or actions against Nya, but she never had the opportunity or the liberty to give those out, if you will. So even though she had them, and out of her great compassion, she did not want to put the alleged father into a place of jeopardy as well. So she was being meticulous. She wanted everything to resolve as harmoniously as she could. But what occurred is that they actually then began to deprive her of her rights, and it became obvious that there was something else going on with this. And as we have uh, we did a forensic investigation into this. Again, it's all been premeditated and pre-orchestrated, if you will, how in our presentation we will put this out to the Supreme Court and Constitutional Court in Austria as well. We have already made our decision in the final verdict, which is incontestable, but we are going to give these both courts their chance just to publicly uh, say what their decision is on it. And shall they not answer, they also become more complicit in the crime. But also, if they do answer, it indicates a very, very severe criminal ring in all levels of government. So this is a very important thing that we are doing. So the judges in refusal of case files. We have encountered many unlawful things within Austria with this case. So a judge typically can just, the judge has impunity in the family courts, meaning that the judge can just decide whatever the judge wishes to do, even if it breaks the laws, if you will, and violates rights. But that judge, you cannot have impunity in a just system. There has to be accountability. So this is part of the reasoning why the Austrian uh, justice system is not just at all. It is not set up for the people. It's actually set up to protect perpetrators, like in this case, the judge and the higher up leaders and mayors and all of this. Um, and we touched on International Crime Link. This will be more interesting as it unfolds and will connect the other countries. And we're seeing actual children and families are actually targeted. And Austria does play a significant role in a wider network with Italy, Netherlands, UK, Norway, United States, to name a few that are also connected with this broad criminal ring, if you will, that goes much deeper. It goes beyond child services in these countries. There is a much deeper, sinister connection with it, uh, without going too far in that. Um, and please interrupt at any time if you have anything to say. If not, I'll just continue. There's two more on this list that we could go through.
No, just continue, please.
All right, just see what else Ray got written here. Yeah, the universal jurisdiction based on absolute law. Yeah, so pretty well. And this is what we're doing. Law is law, and it has to be upheld. And again, it is not upheld at all in the just way in Austria. And the justice system, yeah, for reform, but also what we are doing with this, with the entire justice system of Austria. Part of their reform, if it is chosen, is it has to be the divine law. There is no other alternative, if you will, but it, because divine law is absolute law based on the core values and principles of the individual human rights and the basis of what is law and truth, without getting too lengthy into that. So that is that list. And then we got, so I need to, at this time, I believe, so the children testing, what we need to say at this time, how long, I think it was June 25th when the alleged father got custody of the children, when the child services actually gave the children to the father. It was June 25th, right?
The court order was out on the 12th of July, and I have take the court letter on the 25th, and immediately when they saw in their system that I have taken the letter, they released the children to the ex. So that was on the 25th.
Of June.
Yes.
Yes, June. So it's been over a month. Yes. So now in the course of this month, um, there has been no communication by you with the children, correct?
Yes.
And with this, you have put in the request to the alleged father, letting the children know that they can call you at any time, correct?
Yes.
And then the alleged father said he has told them, but did he also say that they didn't want to?
Yes.
Because as of yet, they have not, the children has not called you.
Yes, he said they don't want to call you, but he will motivate them again. And I think after weeks, he came back and he said he had tried it again, but they don't want to call you.
Yeah. And how peculiar really is that, everyone that's watching? That is, absolutely odd again. At this point, I'm going to play this again. I'm going to share my screen once again. So here's Nya with her children shortly, perhaps a couple weeks before the Child Crisis Center placed the children in the custody of the alleged father. Once again, look at this great love. So then we ask the question, why haven't the children called? I'll play this once more. So,
Yes. I
so
just
what
want
we're looking at.
I
Mhm.
just I just want to add, I think 2 days ago, before they were released into the custody of the ex, I had to chat with Aurora on the phone, and she was like, "Oh, mommy, we are gonna go to a children's home, and then we can see you then." And she was so happy. And I said, "Aurora, you don't need to be happy, to come to a children's home. You are coming back to mommy, right?" But she said, "No, but we can see you there. There's a place, and you can come visit us." And I didn't know why she reacted that way. And then one day after, I talked with them again, and they were so frustrated, right? Like they had some pressed anger, and they were fighting with each other on the phone, which never happened. Or I think it happened, but not in that manner, right? And when I called them on the day where they were released again, I then just realized it is because they were informed they will go to the father, right? And the woman there was very interesting. And I said, "Where are the children?" And she said, "Well, they are out." And I said, "Where out? Where are they?" And she said, "Yeah, maybe with the father." And I said, "Yeah, and what is with their things and stuff and everything? I wanted to pick them up, all the things that I brought to them." And she said, "That's from the children." And I talked to her, and I said, "Well, I wanted to put it back into the home when they are coming back." And she was some kind of, like, she was like, like, "What are you saying? They won't come back to you, right?" Because I felt that thing like, what do you want with those things, right? So that happened on that day. So that's the reason why I'm bringing that up right now, right? My last two conversations with the children, and since then, no contact from them, because I
Mhm.
told them whenever they feel to, they should call.
And let's say normally they would have called long before now. So this is
Yes,
indicating that something else is going on, preventing that, indeed. And with Sister Nya, not to pressure the children at all by her calling, she left it with the children's discretion and feeling to call. But by doing this, we both knew that if the children were fine, they would have called, because you've seen the great love that is there. So what it means, there is something else occurring behind the scenes with this. So the children, let's say, were kidnapped, and I consider them hostages, yet still, even though the crisis center has, let's say, placed them in the hands of the alleged father, the crisis center still controls the father and still performing psychological experimentation and tests on the children, to our knowledge. Was there,
I
do
I
you recall
I
any time frame? How
I
long
don't
they would
know if
do
it
the
is the
tests?
crisis intervention center, afterwards, after they were released in the custody. But from my knowing, they had made, the child welfare NDX had made an application for an ongoing support and assistance and guidance to help the children integrate back into their father with the psychological evaluator, right? So since I don't have any access to anything, I don't know how that is
Mm.
going on.
But their protocol and intent was to fully isolate, alienate the mother fully out of the picture, which is a very pathetic and sick thing to do, as we know. So, yes, directly and intentionally demeaned Sister Nya through this whole thing, and all in attempts to alienate, to separate the children from Nya, because also one reason the alleged father was easier to control, but also the alleged father is in serious criminal jeopardy as well as a result of this forensic investigation and at tying things all together. So, with this investigation, what we have done generically, it has been a crime, but now with the investigation, we are particularly identifying and showing the full incrimination of individuals, including the alleged father and the criminal roles that they played in this. So we have many, and it is because it's so obvious, the laws that have been broken, that it's easy to simply identify the individuals and the roles and their unlawful actions in this. Again, proving this whole thing beyond any reason of a doubt, which goes into the incontestable um, place that there is no trial. There is only the remedy and the full accountability by all of those that were involved, and a very serious criminal ring is being exposed. Even I like to say, and what Father's saying, every minute now, that there's more supporting evidence to the extent of a very serious criminal ring that really has all of the Austria and many more parents and families in grave danger as a result. And having said this, we put out a public notice just a couple of days ago, informing the public of this grave danger as well. And the public needs to take action. As we said, it's not the public sitting around thinking that you have responsible authorities, because that is actually not the case with Sister Nya and everything we've been doing. All levels of government and the judicial system in Austria has been delivered particulars, all of the case, and yet no one has moved to support Nya or to end this and return the children. So what this actually shows is that all levels, tiers of government and the judicial system in Austria are actually complicit. They are, in the least, accomplices in this crime. It
Um,
goes beyond being guilty by association. It goes beyond that. Yes, sister.
yes, I just want to add, during the whole 2 years by me standing up and supporting and protecting the children, which was not in alignment with them, So they created that penalty fee because I didn't come to court. Then also, an application was made by the ex, intentionally harming me and the children, but also requesting the coercion of measurements onto me, which
And these are
include,
some of the
yes,
intimidations.
yeah,
Yes.
which is completely against
Attempts.
human rights because I'm not a criminal, right? But furthermore,
Hmm.
that had enabled him or, the federal department or the police to use violence against me if I would have, rejected what they want me to do, right?
Hmm.
So those kind of things, but also, keep on going with, penalty fees that I put my children out of school because they were coercing my children and it caused them psychological harm and stress, right? They wanted to take my car, so I cannot leave. Also, 3 days before they took away the children, they wanted to reassure that I don't have a car. They sent someone there, just to get the value of my car, to get my car, right? And 3 days after, they took away the children. And then again, they sent me the bill for valuing my car that they want to auction,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. In their attempts, yes, of depriving you of subsistence, your subsistence, and then want to charge you also for these things. This is everyone listening. This is not law, but it's ridiculous that the court would approve a penalty against Sister Nya instead of, the proper procedure with any court, if you will, just court, would to be look into the reasoning for anything. But the whole thing is unlawful anyway. It's intimidation tactics and abuse, the opportunity to abuse things to intimidate others, which is not law. So it's it's
Yep.
actually
Yes, but it shows,
ridiculous.
but
Yeah,
it shows again how many places and that the whole government and the system is involved into this. It's not only
yeah,
one place in
yeah,
Carinthia and all the district and everything. It went to Vienna and Vienna back, but also,
yeah. And oh,
yes,
yeah, yeah. And here's the thing, so the alleged father goes to intimidate you by putting $1,000 penalty against you, and the court says, "Oh no, that's too much," but will allow you to put a $500 penalty against Nya. But what it shows is that the court is actually on the side of the alleged father as well. So further collusion with this. But go ahead.
yes, I have to say, for everyone who doesn't know, it is connected to the past, the parental alienation syndrome, which is based on pseudoscience, which was created by a masculine father lobbyist um, who created that, and where very high paid people and politicians are involved into this party. So just sharing that, and also other evaluators as well. But also to furthermore prove everything, we also have submitted a lot into the corruption department, and also that went further into the prosecutor office, meaning like I had a lot of evidence, and every time it was rejected, no, there is no misuse of power. So the thing is, I just recently, just to go back, the first time when the father did that coercion thing, right? They accused me for leaving the country, leaving the country or something. But since today, I didn't have access to it, so I don't know it. But the thing is, when they took away the children, they put me under surveillance, and I was for a while, I think 1 month or 2 months again under surveillance. I was joking, with Rick and other soul families, oh, the phone is not working again. They are listening, right? But the thing is, just recently, I received a letter again from the prosecutor office saying that they have stopped, the investigations against me. And I looked at it, what is this? And then I figured out it is because they said that I'm involved into a group divine-gpms, which is anti-government, and like bringing people together. Yeah, we have to fight the system, which I don't do, and I don't threatening people and
Hmm.
all those kind of things. But the interesting thing was, the last time what I have shared today, when I was at the child welfare leader, he somehow said already something similar to it. So it must be someone who have received, the ceased and desist order or the invoices, who is involved into my emailing and who I'm sending, the truth, right? Who accused me of this, right? Which would be again or is again a misuse of power, a threatening, a coercing, intimidating, the whole tactic. And as you can
Well,
see,
yeah, yeah.
this is an
To
ongoing
to
thing through years
yeah
now.
to, yeah to launch a criminal investigation upon you, saying more or less you were anarchist against the system and what have you. But realistically, who would not be against a system that is unjust and continually forces one to defend themselves and seek justice? So it's ridiculous and absurd, even for an investigation of that sort to begin. But nevertheless, the point, another point, also that investigation, they attempted, there was a ruling, if you will, by the prosecutor that they attempted also to try to lay charges against you for recording during you gathering evidence in your investigation, but it, that was rejected as well. And this is very important for any that are, as we've said before, any that are investigating your defense. You are allowed to record others and document all of your evidence with this. So this is a look at this as a good breakthrough from the prosecutor's office, that they made a ruling in this case that no, it's not illegal for one to voice record or video record anyone, because that was one of the um, things that they said. And also, the prosecutor found that no, Sister Nya is not fighting against the state or the system, and that's not what she is part of and what GPMS is. So what I want to do right at this moment, I'm going to take a moment to bring up our GPMS website, and I wish to show ones. Let me share the screen again.
I just shortly stepping out.
Yes, all right. Thank you. So here's GPMS. It is the divine plan. It is the replacement system worldwide with absolute divine law and monetary system that places all into immediate abundance, if you will. Anyone can visit. It's at divine-gpms.world. So it's the divine plan. It's intelligence that is uniting at this time, because enough is enough with the savage injustices, if you will. Uh, we don't need to fight it. We just unite all of the good people and just replace the entire system worldwide peacefully. So this is an official worldwide referendum vote, uh, where we gather the majority consents worldwide. Um, and it is a cumulative ratification process, meaning that there is no set time uh, on let's say, receiving the majority consent worldwide. So this is inevitable. It's just how long it takes for the people to ratify it, and it's a solid agreement once it's ratified, and everyone is free, abundant, and no longer need to contend with these things. So I'll just read this, what we have put on our website. So GPMS is the universal nation of divine GPMS. It's not an organization, but it is the world citizenship, where the entire world comes together as the universal nation, where you have unprecedented wealth. You never need to worry about any money again, just to keep it short. And all of your rights are upheld. You are free. No one steals your children. No one can take them away. So the divine-gpms.world is not an organization. It is the living embodiment of world citizenship, restored through divine law and the collective consent. As a universal nation, divine GPMS does not operate within the confines of corporate structures or artificial jurisdictions. It represents the awakened will of the people, united as one worldwide beyond borders, politics, and religions. Every soul who ratifies divine GPMS is not joining a group. They are declaring their divine citizenship in a new earth civilization that is rooted in love, truth, and the self governs, if you will. And this is not, GPMS is not a membership. This is freedom. This is the birthright of all. And of course, anyone can visit the site. You can learn about your rights, about what GPMS is, and all of this. Currently, we have 347,126 have ratified this concrete worldwide agreement and universal nation, because it's souls, people from all over the world. So just to make that simple, we don't fight against governments or what have you. We're gathering the people just to bring in the all-inclusive new system for humanity, where none of these atrocities and evil exists in this new world. Great. Well, all right, so I'll stop sharing that. So I just got through what we had on there. So what we are doing is applying absolute law to the Austria justice system, but not only there, worldwide. It's the ripple effect, as I mentioned. It's also we are not the only two with divine law as well, and I need to say there are more. Ones that are standing in this, and anyone watching, it's important that you know, by consenting with gpms.world and ratifying the agreement, it places yourself in the security of absolute law, which is above any of the man-made laws as well, without going too deep into that.
I would say artificial law. It's better.
the the artificial law. So the universal nation of GPMS is growing. And basically what constitutes a nation or substantiates it is its a lawful structure and its monetary system, two of the mainstays. And let me say with this that GPMS has both of them. Our monetary system is not active because it's pending upon the majority approval. Let me say in this moment, we have the full ability to distribute unprecedented worldwide wealth. However, everything must be kept in divine order. We could do this in one day to everyone, but we need the world, the majority, to ratify and agree to this. And once this is done, it's enacted into full law worldwide, where everyone is free and in unprecedented wealth. So there are the slight condition of contributing to a few hours at least a week of work, which is only a fraction of what everyone has worked in the past, and it structure brings all of the family units back together, and so many benefits without I going in there. So what we have done, uh, so Sister Nya has sent out the lien, uh, and also we did a public notice that the lien was sent also to 19 other countries, including other nations, including the Vatican. And one of the reasons for the Vatican is that the church, no matter what church it is, has to step up and do the right things as well, and to support the people if they are actually divine and connected to God, if they're not part of something else. So the church itself is actually morally obligated, no matter what denomination of the church that it is. These things are not acceptable by God, by stealing and kidnapping and trafficking children. What I say, God loves all children, and all children are innocent. And in this great time, this is stopping, and the churches needs to play a role and make a stand. Any ministers, priests, or what have you, any clergies of the church, you need to know that you are to speak the word of God. And this has to end. This beast system worldwide is not of God. And you have to choose. And you have to choose now. Who are you going to support? The people or an extensive, savage, corrupt system worldwide? Just to keep it simple. So we have also informed, as I said, 19 nations of the public liens, which are extensive, and these are only initial liens, that they are growing in amount daily. The interest is accumulating, but not only that, more liens will be, and these are lawful liens. And right at this time, really, the way that, let's say, the Austrian monetary system leads people to believe, which is an illusion. But if we're to look at these liens, what it does, it has Austria completely held in the clutches. And this is a very serious situation for any of the Austrian people to actually know what's occurring here with it, without me getting extensively into the financial and economic repercussions of this. And also to say that this is no joke, and there is no avoidance of this accountability. This crime is serious. Mm-hmm.
I just want to add also, we not only have informed those countries, but also I think we also informed the International Criminal Court.
Of justice, yes.
Yeah, and the
European.
International Court of Justice and the European Court of Human Rights in Geneva. And also with this, again, here in Austria, you know, all the ministries of all parliaments, and also this time every leader of each state of Austria as well, and also 13 law companies, the biggest one in Austria
Law
as
firms
well.
in Austria. And we put these out as public notices to inform the people as well. And what we request and suggest that these public notices, people, you can just print them off and put them on bulletin boards if you wish, and to spread this awareness. And it doesn't matter if you're not in Austria, if you're in the US, you can print this off to let the people know that your actual power with this. And in this case, these liens are absolutely lawful because the crime is incontestable. It's proven with all of the incontestable evidence and also the inaction by the government of Austria that has been given more than one opportunity to do the right thing, but did not. So it has incriminated uh, the entire representation of the people in Austria. So it's a very serious situation for the people of Austria. Hmm. So we covered I've covered mostly everything on my list, and what we are doing is we continue. We have some more very powerful, lawful public notices and um, instruments as well. But again, it's to show and begin to name even more of the perpetrators in this crime. So how will I put it? Yes, there is conspiracy and with intent to inflict great harm. And with a conspiracy, there are many members. And as we are diligently have done, is to prove and to show how they connect directly into the crime and let's say even accomplices to this crime, because everyone had the choice, the moral choice and ability to not participate, and many were and all were informed by cease and desist orders, given the opportunity to whistle blow, to not participate. So any that chose to do so after they were given uh, these um, these cease and desist orders and notifications, when they did not cease, it shows that they had intent. So intent is proven that they chose to continue to be criminal and act criminally. So with that, there is no escape from these serious crimes.
I think Ray brought a very interesting word into it, the institutional cover-up. Yes, because it is a big cover-up. So it's not only, you know, the child welfare, but everyone involved, you know, as everyone can see now with all the evidence we have, and we have enough.
Well, absolutely. They would not have been so brazen and confident at the lower level if they did not know that they had impunity, but if they also had coverage at the top levels. And that's what it was, the institutional cover up to protect these criminals, to inflict great harm upon moms and children. But then again, it goes much deeper because also we need to factor in, I will and mention here, over 20,000 refugee children apparently vanished, I believe, over the last 5 years or perhaps 4 years that had entered Austria, and also Italy plays a main role in this with over 20,000 refugee children vanishing. And also, it's been prevalent for the most part across Western Europe, naming Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, many other countries also are on the list as notorious for having unprecedented children vanishing, if you will, with no trace. So this is a very extensive, interconnected, international crime ring, and it is all connected in some manner or fashion.
Yes.
So at this state, at this time, the children are still with the alleged father. They have not been returned. So it also shows intentionally that the crime is continuing, and also as a result of that, invoices that were sent out for payment of time and value that was owed to Nya has not been paid. Also, not a recognition nor an information by the government of Austria to tell the people that the liens have been placed against the Republic. So, also by doing this, this is another unlawful and we'll say even illegal thing by the government of Austria, not informing the people the huge financial liens that is placed upon them. And in reality, it would crush the economy of Austria. However, there is no escaping these lawful liens, so decisions have to be made by the people of public, uh, by the Republic of Austria. Not only that, even in other countries around the world.
Oh, can I just add something? It's not to the topic, but what just came into my field was, you know, there are also laws in Austria and also internationally that protecting whistleblowers and also human activists. Meaning, like, if you are stepping up for human rights, if you are opening up and sharing, those information, you have to be protected, So I just want to add that they also broke that law with me as well. It was just funny to think about it, so I had to share.
Yeah, absolutely. And it shows that, the further extent of the systematic illusion and abuse. And this is what it is. When we look at Austria, when you look at its constitution, the rights, when you look at it superficially, the constitution with Austria, the rights, and then when you look superficially at what Austria presents to the rest of the world, that they're a just, an advanced justice system. Perhaps they even use the word advanced, but this is all a lie. It's a misrepresentation. It is fraudulent. It is criminal because this is not the case, as we're proving and showing with this particular case. So it's misleading the people. Ones need to realize that misleading statements are fraudulent. It is criminal as well. So it's all an illusion. But not only in Austria, it's worldwide. With any of your constitutions, they aren't worth the weight of the paper that they're written on, because constitutions are actually written to give you the false illusion that you have rights, but it also is to empower, um, let's say, the governments and representatives to act in the way that they do, unaccountable and unresponsible. And
Uh,
one thing with Austria, with the Constitutional Court of Austria could make recommendations all day and say, yes, these rights have been violated. But what occurs, it is the Supreme Court, the justice system of Austria itself, that decides if it wants to listen to the Constitutional Court. So the justice system, where it's corrupt, they cannot enforce any constitutional rights, and they do not. So it's all a joke, if you will, and it's all an illusion.
yes, I can also bring up a perfect example for it. There's an ongoing thing that they want you to pay a fee to use the television, but also if you never use it, right? Which is also theft, I would say, because you cannot go to someone and say you have to pay for it, also if you don't use it. So this was an ongoing thing for years, and just recently the Constitutional Court has released it is valid, right? But that's against human rights. It's completely against. So just as an example, how the Constitutional Court acted here. But also I have to add, because we did a lot of investigations, right, with everything, that also the cut, the place for the torture and everything, the section, tried to establish, established in Austria, but couldn't. So they have already, warned, I think, Austria several times with it to have such a place here in Austria as well. I'm just sharing, that there are a lot of more things that is not known by the public or shown outside. How the current state really is, and also, I think also Austria only shows himself right now publicly that they don't have money right now, and they have make some kind of application for deficits. It was some kind of very parallel, or with our liens as well, and also the state where I am. They said, like, they need something of 150 years to pay the debts back or something like that. So I'm just saying, because, as we know, and as you also often say, they create money out of nothing with no weight on it, right? So I'm just putting those things, for everyone to think about this.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll look at this two quick ways. With the people, the Republic of Austria having currently $2.5 trillion debt because of the lien placed upon them right at this time, the liens, but also more to come. Yes, they would be, if the old system remained intact, let's say they would be forever trying to pay that debt off. So it would be thousands of years and even more in the old system. But with the new people system of gpms.world, there is no debt and there is no burden by any from Austria. However, we need the majority consent worldwide to establish this, and then no one owes any money, no taxes, none of this doesn't exist in this new system. So I need to give both ways of what is occurring. And really, if the old system remains intact, the people are condemned. So really, it's a no-brainer choice to also ratify the new system worldwide so that all debt, even your personal debt, is eradicated because it is all an illusion. It's all been perpetrated upon humanity to control. So the real truth goes much deeper. And again, what I say right at this moment, if we had the majority consent worldwide, divine-gpms.world, everyone that's watching this, but the entire world, every child, woman, and man would see in their bank accounts or someone coming to their door and giving them an initial equivalent payment of around $30,000 US up to perhaps 90,000 and US equivalent, because it will be based on the highest value dollar, which is actually the Kuwaiti dollar, which is the most actually valuable in the world. But having said this, that is the initial comfortable payment, while at the same time, all essential goods and service providers for humanity are also given excessive amounts of instant funding to ramp up whatever humanity needs to just to keep that simple with going into all of the benefits of GPMS that we already have in store for all of the people of Earth. Yeah, do you have anything you wish to add, Sister Nia?
Oh no, we covered everything from my list. It was
Yeah,
perfect.
it was lengthy.
Perfect.
All right, good. We have other things I didn't mention here yet, but
Yes, yes.
mm. All right, well, let's end this one. I'll end this on Facebook, and what I'll say is love, light, and gratitude, everyone. And you're this far away from a brand new, abundant, free world. You just got to choose it, and we're getting close at hand to that. And all families will be back together, all children united. But everyone has to stand up to vote and consent for this to make it happen quicker. It takes all of your participation in it to make it happen worldwide. Um, so, with that, we'll say love, light, and gratitude to everyone
Love and
watching
gratitude.
this live. And I will end that. One moment. Stop. Oh, and before it stops, share this worldwide, anyone and everyone. Thank